Metal4Metal universe. I'm PJ Steven, that's Dennis Parker, and we're here to give you the Metal4Metal news right into your ear holes, just like we do every week. We are right in the middle of our 2 weeks of punk segment that we've been doing for a while, so our news is going to really reflect that, because who the hell knows where punk news is.
Yeah, it's not punk rock that's making the news.
You're absolutely fucking right, but our topic is going to be reflecting on that. We can't wait to get to that. But for right now, we're going to give you the Metal4Metal news. I'm going to give you a quick update of what's been going on. We just did our second episode of Metal Hammered with Rick and Stacy, and very nice people that you will meet later on.
Yeah, it's really cool hanging out with them.
Yeah, when the episode drops. Punk experts out the ass know exactly what's going on. Had a lot of insight of things like people from the Descendants, Truck Ride, who are local artists that they like to support. Even getting some knowledge on guys like G.G. Allen and Sid Vicious, people like that. We talked a lot about our most influential punk albums, our most who was the punk band that we respect the most. It was a great interview, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. I'm very excited. As far as that goes, since this has been the 2 weeks of punk, I've been catching up on a lot of punk, and I know you've been listening to a lot of Bad Religion. That's your punk band.
That's my punk band of choice. Very influential to me back in the day. It was. I remember watching one of their DVDs, and Greg from the band, he said something. It's like musically, it's kind of hard to distinguish punk bands apart sometimes.
Yeah.
So his idea was just kind of distinguish himself lyrically by the way he thinks.
That totally makes sense, and I remember seeing something about that. That totally makes sense. My punk band of choice, of course, is the Dwarves. I'm a big Dwarves fan. I think they're awesome. I'm also a big Misfits fan, but I also like some of the really early stuff like Iggy Bob and things like that. I like the aura that is the original punks, which was awesome. Guys like the Kinks. And bands like that would come out with their ties undone, and to them that was punk rock.
That was punk rock. That having your tie a little crooked.
Yeah, and I dig that. I really dig that. So we hope you guys are enjoying the 2 weeks of punk.
I forgot I actually brought this. I don't know whenever else this is going to fit into.
This is fantastic.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. This is actually Greg's dissertation. Whenever he was getting his PhD, because as you know, Greg there, he has a PhD in something. He teaches, I think, sometime maybe part-time at Cambridge, and he has like 3 or 4 other books out, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I got that a long time ago, and he autographed it, and that's one of the coolest things I own, actually.
That sounds like a kid soon.
I'm gonna own that child, and I'm gonna put it to work. I'm never gonna mow my grass again, I swear to God.
That's true. Is he gonna be weed whacking too?
Everything.
So is it I guess it would technically be child labor, but it's is it still child labor?
Well, I mean, that was the whole point of having children back in the day, was just free labor.
So is it still child labor if it's your child?
I hope so. I don't care what they say. I mean, that
to you, it could just be that's your chores, darling.
Yeah, I mean, this is just what you do, girl. If you want to live.
Moving right along to the Metal4Metal news. What do we got first?
All right, let's start out. Let's start out with a little bit of gossiping shit talk, I guess.
Yeah, this is kind of funny to me, and we usually try and stay away from shit like this. But the comments were way too.
Yeah,
funny.
I thought
we had. So all you Nickelback fans that love Metal4Metal, keep your ears up.
All right, well, I guess going back a little bit, Nickelback and Slipknot have had kind of a feud going on because they were both signed around Roadrunner Records at the same time.
Right.
And Slipknot kind of accused Roadrunner of taking all the money that they made from Slipknot and then giving. No,
Nickelback accused.
Roadrunner. Well, it was from what I understand, was Cory Taylor was talking shit, saying that that Slipknot made Roadrunner a shitload of money, and instead of putting it back into Slipknot, they used it to sign Nickelback. So that's kind of where this whole fucking ordeal started. I guess it started like 15 years ago or something. And they're still trading blows across the internet.
Yeah, like Chad Kroeger was like, Cory Taylor, why don't you make a hit every now and again?
Yeah.
Just like the first single that they dropped from Stone Sour, Looking at You Through the Glass, that was a hit. You always heard that on the radio.
he calls him face like a foot. That's basically just how he refers to this Chad Kroeger guy. And Kroeger slammed Stone Sour in a recent interview, calling the Taylor front, calling Stone Sour, basically challenging them to write a hit song.
Yeah.
Yeah, and saying like, I can't think of another, and he was saying that he can't think of another band that's as diverse as they are. Like, as diverse as Nickelback.
It doesn't make any sense. Nickelback, you are no longer relevant. I don't think you're ever going to be relevant again. Just quit while you're ahead and stop. As far as Cory Taylor goes, he has nothing to prove. Cory Taylor is an amazing frontman. I can say that now, and I can say it in about 10 years.
Yeah. I mean,
Cory Taylor's awesome. And the fact that this guy's trying to say that he hasn't made a hit, that's insane.
Yeah.
Even with Slipknot, they sold albums. And actually, fun fact, there was a quote that Cory Taylor had that he said, I've been voted sexiest guy in rock and roll with a mask on, while you've been voted ugliest rock singer without a mask on.
Right.
That's funny to me, you know. And then that's, you know, and as far as it goes on, we don't like to really have this kind of shit in our news.
He did kind of go on like Kroeger. He said they had to put on masks and jump around. How good can your music be if you've got to beat up each other on stage, throw up in your own mask every night? I mean, music shouldn't come with a gimmick. Music should be just the music. None of my favorite music comes from a gimmick.
Well, here's the thing about gimmicks. It's a show.
Yeah,
you're putting on a
theatrics,
show.
You know,
I mean, it's the same thing with Iron Maiden. You know, they fucking put on a show. It's not just the music; it's the entire show. And I think Chad Kroeger's just putting his fucking foot in his mouth, not knowing what the hell he's talking about. That's what I think. As much as you know, one can say, you know, that he's. I mean, I don't think he's very talented at all, but
no.
But why even be like that?
Yeah.
You know,
Cory Taylor even went on and said that he really doesn't have a problem with the rest of Nickelback. He even says that he's hung out with them, you know, behind the backstage and all that, and he likes everybody except
Chad Kroeger.
Yeah, because he's just an asshole.
Well, Chad Kroeger, maybe
yourself.
you could go find some talent somewhere on the back of that nickel that you have. Either way,
shit, right.
Cory Taylor, you have nothing to worry about, as you know. I mean, that was not funny. I have to laugh. Don't give me pity.
I thought it was kind of funny. Maybe it's just because it's so late. I'm going crazy.
It is late. We're getting delirious.
Yeah.
But we're going to keep getting delirious and go on to the next piece of news, which is actual news.
yeah, it's actual news. Okay, this is Devil Driver Cold Chamber news here. Dez says that Devil Driver will start performing material from Cold Chamber in part because he realized the latter band probably wouldn't tour or make music ever again.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah, and that sucks because Cold Chamber actually is the only band that I've ever bought an album just because of the cover.
Really?
Like, yeah, I've never...
That's why I bought Maiden's.
Really?
Yeah, that's what first got me.
Yeah, I mean, usually I always kind of hear about it, I research it, so I listen to it first, and then I buy it, but I just remember I was in Kmart. Well, I think I was like 12 years old or something.
So you were in ancient territory.
Yeah, I was back whenever they sold, you know, discs in a store, you know. And I just remember like the album cover has like this crazy looking guy in an ice cream truck, and I was like, that's some spooky shit right there. And I just took a whim and bought it, and yeah, it was pretty cool. But
so do you prefer Devil Driver over?
I like Cold Chamber a little bit.
Over
yeah, I think chamber music was really awesome. But
yeah.
I mean, Devil Driver is really cool. They're definitely heavier.
Didn't this guy get a call from Danzig
saying
that
this is basically how
maybe reassuring him? Yeah.
This is basically how it all came about. Like he said, like he got a call from Danzig, right? And I guess they're buddies. And he was just basically like, hey, you should go on tour with me, and you should play some of the Cold Chamber songs too. He's just like, you know, whenever I left the Misfits, I'm still playing Misfits song. And he's like, whenever Rob
Even though he says he'll never play the Misfits,
but
anyway.
Yeah. And then he's like, you know, when Rob Zombie left White Zombie, he still plays White Zombie songs. So he's like, why don't you just do Devil Driver and Cold Chamber songs, you know? And I think it's a great idea. Like, I would love, because if we can't ever see Cold Chamber again live,
you can at least hear some of the songs.
You can at least hear by the original frontman.
Oh, hell yeah.
So that's really cool to me. So yeah, at least so Cold Chamber.
I would be excited for that. I'm a Devil Driver fan and Cold Chamber fan. I prefer Devil Driver a little bit more.
They're definitely heavier.
Yeah.
More kind of just a heavier band, I guess you can say.
Yeah, and like they have like the dueling guitar going on, don't they? With Devil Driver or Cold Train, don't they have two guitars?
Cold Chamber, I believe, just had one. With
Okay.
Devil Driver, I think they just have one too. I could be
Oh,
wrong.
okay.
I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure they just have one guitarist. I could be totally wrong.
Well,
about
what was
that.
their hit? Loco, right?
Loco was the big. Yeah,
Loco
that
was their
what-
big hit, yeah, and that was great.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe that first album, doesn't really hold up that well these days, but I still kind of like it.
Yeah. Well, guys, if anyone has gotten to go see Warped Tour, that means that you hopefully went to one of the stages to go see GWAR.
That's where I was going.
First place I go. GWAR is at Warped Tour, and we have a new single from GWAR. That is the next piece of news. Dennis, take it away, my friend. I want to hear about this.
It's just fan film video footage of GWAR performing a brand new song entitled "Fuck This Place" on June 16th at the Seattle stop of this summer's band's Warped Tour. Can be seen on blabbermouth.net. I'll put the link in the description below. It's actually, you can watch their whole set list, and it's actually pretty good video quality. It's like 30 minutes long, so you can see their whole set list. And it's the track is expected to appear on the band's new album, The Blood of Gods, which will be released in the fall via Metal Blade Records. And this is
Metal Blade Records just keeps putting good shit out. Thank you, Metal Blade Records.
This is the first disc that will feature Berserker Blothar on lead vocals, which is actually just Fatius Maximus, or what? The Beefcake Mighty. I'm sorry, I'm just like I said, it's 1:30 in the morning. Which actually he is the new frontman now. Beefcake the Mighty is just putting on the new.
Oh.
Yeah. Basically,
that's right.
Yeah. So they actually, because at first I was thinking, did they actually go out and hire a new singer? But no, it's just Beefcake.
Well, here's the guy with the beard. Is that Beefcake? Because there's a guy that does front. He's.
Yeah, that's right there.
Okay.
That's Beefcake there.
I thought Beefcake was the bassist.
Yeah, well, they have a new bassist now. That's what happened.
What I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah, they got a new bassist in. I thought they got a new lead singer, but really, he just took over.
Where's your lead? Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I actually had to go on. I researched that a little bit before I got on.
Well, there you go. You do learn something new every day.
Yeah. So I was wondering. I was like, who the hell did they hire to do this? But yeah, it's a great song though.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah. Still big GWAR fans. Can't wait for the new record. If anyone has gone to Warped Tour, have some video of that. That would be awesome. I'd love to see you guys see your guys' video. The Metal4Metal fans. That'd be fantastic. The next piece of news is something that I'm very familiar with because I'm a big Peter Criss fan. So Dennis,
you have a lot more to say.
What's going on with Peter Criss?
This original Kiss drummer Peter Criss played what is being billed as his final U.S. concert this past Saturday at the Cutting Room in New York City. Criss's set consisted of Kiss classics and his solo songs, including "I Can't Stop the Rain" from the 1978 solo album Peter Criss. So,
okay,
you know a lot more about this.
I'm not a huge Kiss fan, but I know a little bit. I know enough to, I know enough to know a little bit about Kiss. So, the main members of Kiss that everyone pretty much knows these days are Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley. But to me, and I think most Kiss fans will agree with me, that Peter Criss is the most talented member of the band. Their only platinum song that they had was Beth, and that was written by Peter Criss and sung by Peter Criss, and it was on the Destroyer record. Peter Criss's solo album is my favorite solo album. All four members of Kiss did their own little solo albums. Paul Stanley wrote a song called Black Diamond that Peter Criss sang, and Peter Criss did a great job singing it. It's an amazing track. There's tracks off the Peter Criss solo album, like I Can't Stop the Rain, or I think it's Hooked on Rock and Roll, I think. And then my favorite song over there is Tossin' and Turnin'. I mean, it's really good stuff. Peter Criss is awesome. And for some reason, he always, maybe it's because he's the cat man, didn't get the greatest gimmick out of there. But Peter Criss is the most talented member of Kiss. Ace Frehley's second, and Gene all the way at the bottom. You still don't own this. Peter Criss is, I think he's very underrated. Mm-hmm. Peter Criss also did a swing classic. He ended it with Sing Sing Sing. And he did like a swing version of that, which is fantastic. I mean, Peter Criss is what? I mean, he's 70, 71.
Yeah, he's 71 now.
He's 71.
So, yeah.
And I mean, it's time for him to hang it up.
He does say that he's in the best health of his life. The best health that he's been in a long time.
And he's an amazing singer.
Yeah, he just said he's just ready. You know, he's like, I've done it. He's like, I've had a great career, and I'm ready to retire.
You know, when he was replaced by Eric Carr, who I think died of cancer later on, but when he was replaced with Eric Carr, no one even batted an eye. And I think that that's a problem. You know, like Peter Criss, I think he doesn't get the credit that he deserves, and I think people in Metal4Metal will definitely agree with me. But it's so nice to see him live out his last concert and enjoy it, have some fun, and then, you know, finally, when he goes up to that great gate in the sky, you know, hopefully he'll be, you know, well, I don't know where exactly he's going, but
he's probably going straight to hell just for being in Kiss. It turns out
Knights in Satan's service
it was totally correct the whole time, and God indeed has judged him. I
wonder who played with him. I know Alex Salzman played with him, who's the keyboardist, but I don't know who the guitarist is. This Eric Rudick, I don't know who that is, but I know who Alex Salzman is. They played in a band called Cold Seas, who I know, but Salzman used to play in other bands as well, and he was kind of a studio musician. So I think that's very interesting as well. So Peter Criss, yeah, man, long live Peter Criss. As far as Kiss goes itself, I mean, I'm not a huge Kiss fan, but I love Love Gun, and I love Destroyer, and I love their first record.
I like Kiss Live.
Oh, Kiss Alive is great. Kiss Alive 2 is good. I don't like 3.
I was actually heard a thing that they're saying Kiss Alive is actually not really alive. It was all just like...
Okay, there's a couple songs on there that weren't really live.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, but it was just kind of like an illusion that actually just sounded really good.
Same thing with Alive 2. There's a couple songs on there that just was not live. It just
but it sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds great. Sounds great.
Yeah. All right, this is the last piece of news we have.
Oh, man. This is our main news.
We just got to be really hopeful about this because it's kind of wish-washy. We don't really know.
And we don't like usually giving rumors, but if this rumor is correct, it's going to be a great...
Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly a rumor. They're just like... Okay, is Black Sabbath's Tony Iommi on a possible new collaboration with Tony Martin? There's nothing set in stone.
Tony Martin's a hell of a singer.
Right. So, in a brand new interview conducted at this year's Metal Hammer Golden Gods event, Tony Iommi was asked about the possibility of a renewed collaboration with former Black Sabbath singer Tony Martin. Yeah, Tony Martin said that, Iommi confirmed. Is there a possibility that this might happen? There's a possibility of anything, really. There's nothing set in stone. I spoke to him about maybe one day doing a couple things, but I've spoke to a lot of people about that. So
it's really, really just...
And when you go down and read it more, it seems like they had discussions on maybe re-releasing the Tony Martin albums and putting maybe some extra content in it.
Yeah, because I love the Eternal Idol.
The Eternal Idol is great.
I think that's great. And we were talking about Headless Cross.
Headless Cross is my favorite.
You can't even find Headless Cross.
Yeah, you can't buy it. It's out of print now. I think on Amazon, last time I checked, it's like $70 for the CD.
But even like Forbidden, that came out in like '95, and Forbidden was really good too.
Yeah.
But the Eternal Idol never gets old for me. That came out in '87. Right when like Appetite for Destruction came out by Guns N' Roses, and right when like there's a lot of good like hard rock bands that were just getting their start, but that album to me,
I remember buying TYR at a pawn shop, and like I remember I'd never, because this like
they came out in '90.
Yeah, it was And I remember, I was like, I've never heard of this Black Sabbath album, I put it in. I was like, this is not Ozzy Osbourne. This is a long time.
Not Dio either.
Yeah, I think this is like way before I had the internet.
What was the year that Dio came back and they changed it to Heaven and Hell?
Oh, that was like the early 2000s,
was it?
Mid 2000s.
Because when did that album drop with Bible Black?
I'm not good with
it. I'm not a historian. I have the 45 of that, and the B-side is Neon Nights Live, which is great. But I can't remember when that was. But either way, I think Tony Martin was the first choice for them.
Yeah.
And he turned. I believe he turned it down, and they just got Dio.
Yeah. But
Tony Martin's really good.
Yeah, I like Tony.
I think that he
really
is.
Great.
I I think that he gets forgotten about because when you got two megastars in there, you know, Ozzy and then Dio, sometimes Tony Martin gets forgotten about, but he's a hell of a musician, or excuse me, a hell of a front man.
I might be getting my shit mixed up, but last week weren't we just talking about Ripper and Tony? They did a collaboration, didn't they? They were touring or something.
No, Ripper, Blaze, and
Blaze. Okay, that was it.
Ripper, Blaze, and
some other asshole.
Queensryche. Jeff Tate. Yeah.
But I would like to see a Ripper.
But I think we're getting all of our sophomore vocalists confused.
Yeah,
Actually,
no
well, not
shit, right?
sophomore because Blaze came third. What would that be called? Junior?
I guess so.
I guess so. We go by high school years.
I guess that's what they do.
Either way, I would buy that. I'd buy a Tony Martin and Tony Iommi collaboration. I still love Tony Iommi's solo shit. I mean, he can still play. And he can still go, even at this age.
Yeah,
and even with missing 2 tips of his finger.
I mean, I guess he's not gonna tour anymore. Like Tony, Iommi's not gonna tour, but
they said this was their last tour, Black Sabbath. But Ozzy is gonna be touring with Zakk Wylde, so maybe Ozzy's not done touring, you know.
Yeah, but apparently, according to this article, Iommi just built a new studio at his house. So that means that he's got it. I mean, he wouldn't spend all the money on a studio just to not fucking do anything with it, right?
Yeah, because Sabbath finished their farewell tour on like February 4th or something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, that would be.
So maybe they'll do the Beatles thing where they just never tour anymore and they just sit in the studio and just release.
I'd buy that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, hell yeah, I'd give him my money.
And that's all the news I care about.
That is all the news, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for tuning in. Our topic of the week is going to be with our 2 weeks of punk that we've been doing, which we're all having fun with. We're all having fun with the interviews that we've had. We're going to have another interview this Monday with the How About Astronauts. It's a local band here in South Carolina. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with that interview.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, very much looking forward to that, seeing where their inspirations come from. And speaking of inspirations, our topic of the week is, what do you think is the most influential punk album to its history? Not necessarily your favorite, but what do you think is the most influencing album?
You know a lot more about this stuff, so I will defer to you.
You're just gonna defer to me?
I'll defer to you.
Okay, not that I think this is a really great record, because I mean it's great for punk, but I don't think it's great for actual like talent. Which is really douchey of me to say, I know, but the Sex Pistols' first record, that is to me the most influential punk album, because Sid Vicious did not know how to play a bass, but he still got in there and just fucking recorded, and it was great. I mean, it was cool for what it was. I looking back at that album and re-listening to it, you really see the carefree. I guess the carefree tone that they put out of just like, we're just playing.
Right.
And it's great. And that is punk right there. And I'm quoting a friend here when I say, if you're trying to be punk rock, then you're not punk rock.
Right.
Punk rock is just it just happens. And to quote Rick from our interview, it's freedom. It's just freedom. And I think that Sex Pistols record really just defines the word freedom. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of that record per se, but for what it is, it's a hell of a record, and it's a hell of to me, it made the pathway for other punk bands to, I guess, not care, and to just make it work.
They laid the path to not give a fuck.
Yeah, and I mean that was the Sex Pistols, and even if you want to go back to the Kinks. And you want to go back to, I was even saying the Doors, or you look at Iggy Pop. I mean, that is punk rock, and it's one of those things where they didn't mean to do that, you know.
Yeah. They
didn't mean to do that, but they did, you know. And you even look at the Ramones, you know, like that almost all their albums were really influential to. It's kind of poppy.
It's very
poppy, but that energy or that influenced other punk bands, that pop punk genre that people are into, and I can dig it.
You know, pop punk though. I mean, that's a good way for maybe younger people to get into punk, and then later on, you know, get into the real stuff. You know, quote unquote real stuff.
Yeah, but definitely the Sex Pistols' first record. I mean, nothing is more punk rock than that. To be honest, you know, we were talking about G.G. Allen earlier.
Mm-hmm.
How punk rock it was. He just wanted to fight on stage.
Yeah,
that's punk rock. Not only is that punk rock, that's fucking metal.
Yeah,
and I dig it. Do you have any album that comes to mind that it would be influential?
I mean, like to me, like just Bad Religion and the Misfits are just my two like major punk bands. But I mean, like to me, like Suffer was one of the best albums that came out, just because it was like
that was their
second
record. Yeah,
that was their second one. Well, actually, I think it actually was technically their third one, because their first one came out and then they released one that was like Somewhere Into the Unknown, and it was just fucking awful. They ended up trying to incorporate keyboards and all this other stuff.
Bad Religion also dropped a Christmas album. So.
They did, but I think that was more of a kind of a goof off kind of thing.
Oh, sure,
but actually, it's not a bad album though. It's not that bad. But yeah, I guess technically it's their Suffer is their Return to Form album. But every song is just an instant classic, and I mean, I don't know how well it paved the landscape for other bands, but I mean, like, I'm pretty sure it was influential to a lot of people.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's how I feel about Misfits Static Age, to be honest, because it was recorded in '78. It didn't drop until the mid '90s, right?
Yeah,
I think that's punk rock, because it's like, oh shit, we had all this stuff that we recorded.
Yeah, just like sat around on a record.
I think that Static Age and Misfits is one of the bands too that just really defined that don't care attitude, because a lot of their singles were on other albums, you know, and they went back and forth with a lot of things like that, and you know, that's crazy to me, because you don't see that all the time. You don't see, you know, this was the same song off that album before, and so on and so forth. But Static Age, man, that's not only pretty much a greatest hits of theirs and an actual record, or an actual studio record, but it was recorded in the late '70s, where punk rock was really just coming up in that kind of really mainstream kind of thing, because then actual like heavy metal bands were really getting into punk rock at that time. I mean, we talked about Steve Harris's first band that he was in. I think it was called I just lost it. No, they're not Smiler.
Oh, okay.
That's what it was. Okay, so when they were in Smiler in, I think like 74, 75, Iron Maiden, they got the name Iron Maiden in 76. But either way, when they were doing that, they were punk. When their first singer, Paul Day, he was nothing but a punk singer.
Yeah.
And then, they got Dennis Wilcock, who was more an heavy metal.
Their first album was very punk.
Oh, yeah, when they dropped
rock.
Iron Maiden in 1980 with Paul Di'Anno, that's, Wrathchild, Sanctuary, that's punk.
Yeah.
You know, and
without punk rock, I mean, there's a lot of metal bands that wouldn't have been influenced at all.
Metallica,
yeah.
I mean, like 20.
I mean, we know like Cliff Burton was just like really, that's all he really listened to was punk rock.
Yeah,
and like,
yeah.
Maybe
so
all he listened to.
I guess my second choice for most influential album will probably be Static Age by the Misfits. But the Misfits themselves were very influential in what they did, and I'm very proud to be a fan of punk rock.
Do you think Kroeger from Nickelback's gonna have shit to say because they wear makeup?
I think Kroeger
can go fuck himself.
I think he needs to worry about himself first. Maybe he should drop a single before he starts bitching at other people dropping singles.
Tomorrow on Blabbermouth, we're going to have a new article, just like he goes after the Misfits.
I'm going to record
the bear.
I'm going to record a live video with me just bitching. Because that's what we do as metal fans. We bitch.
We bitch.
And we bitch. And we bitch. And we bitch.
What was that joke? How many metalheads does it take to change a light bulb? 2. One to change it, and another to complain about how the old one was better.
How the old one was better, yeah, that's me all day, because I'm just an old shithead. Well, guys, like we said, yeah, really, I'm only 23. Well, I'm not gonna. Well, I just did. Anyway, you suck. Well, this has been Metal4Metal, episode 10, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, on behalf of my partner here, Dennis Parker, we thank you all for your support. No matter how many views we get, no matter how many likes we get, no matter how many subscribers we get.
The Kathy Griffin one did pretty well.
Kathy Griffin did really well.
Pretty well.
We're still going to keep going. We love what we do. We're not expecting to get rich off of it. We love what we do for the fans, and we love your we love the way the fans
I only expected death threats.
Yeah, really. Like, comment, subscribe. Whether it's positive or negative, we appreciate each and every one of you. So please keep it up. Our 2 weeks of punk is still continuing. If you guys have any punk questions, any kind of punk material you guys want to throw on, please let us know. The interview with Rick and Stacy should be up around Saturday. Also, we mentioned that we did a Meets Metal with Jason Willis a couple weeks ago.
And it should be going up.
It's going to be going up.
Well, I guess in the past, because this will go up on Friday, so
we gotta go back.
It'll
to
actually
the future.
It'll be up by the time you're seeing this.
It'll be up by the time you're seeing it. So definitely, if you haven't watched it, rewind and watch the first episode of Meets Metal with Mr. Jason Willis. And then fast forward so you can watch the interview with Rick and Stacy. And then stay tuned for Monday, where we will have Hellbob Astronauts right here in the studio, my house, to interview for the last week of Punk.
A lot of good content coming up.
Yeah, we're really excited for Metal4Metal to bring you that. Also, one more thing that we're going to be bringing you is the new Iced Earth record has dropped, ladies and gentlemen, Incorruptible, and it's fantastic.
Really good.
I really like it. I like it better than Plagues of Babylon. We plan on doing we plan on doing a review of that. So if you haven't listened to it, please check it out. Iced Earth's new record. John Shaver really took a lot of other ideas. Not took a lot. I'm sorry, but he stole. He didn't steal anything. For this time, he didn't steal anything. He took some ideas from Stu Block, who was the lead singer.
Right.
He collaborated with a lot of his band, which usually he doesn't do that.
He didn't fire him.
He just kind of writes whatever, but he really wanted some input on this one, and I think it really paid off because a lot of it is really good. So we plan on doing a review of that soon, so stay tuned. Again, this has been PJ Steven. That's Dennis Parker. Please like, comment, subscribe on our Metal4Metal YouTube page. If we get up to 100 views, we're probably going to do something crazy, which is going to be nice. If we get up to 100 views, either I'm going to sing a song terribly, or he'll play the guitar terribly.
What do you mean, like 100 subscribers
100 subscribers,
right.
Yeah, if you get 100 subscribers, we'll do something stupid.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be nice. So stay tuned for the last 2 weeks of Punk. Again, like, comment, subscribe on our Facebook page as well. Our Patreon account is up if you want to pledge us $1. No, you never have to do that. You can always come back here for the free content. But we would really appreciate a new microphone. So thank you guys so much for your support. PJ Steven, Dennis Parker, Metal4Metal Network. You guys are always heavy fucking metal. I see his